All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome to Inside the LPGA podcast. And I just have to say, we are reunited and it feels so good. Guys, I am alongside the OG co-hosts, Emma Talley and Adam Stanley, and it is a very exciting week. We are here at the Chevron Championship, the first major championship of the LPGA Tour season, and it is going to be a great week. I am on site. The build is huge. It is bigger than ever, and everything in Texas is bigger. It is not a lie. All right, guys. So, how excited are y'all? Obviously, the Masters, it feels like it just finished up, but I guess now it's been, like a week or two? But how exciting is it to just be able to kind of come off of that momentum? All of the golf fans out there, you know, they now have something else to watch. They have another major championship to watch. So, Adam, you were there. You were in Augusta. How excited are you to kind of follow up on that momentum?
Yes, I am. I'm back, both physically from the Masters and also here on the podcast. And you know what, everyone, I appreciate all the fan mail. I appreciate all the where have you been? You know, all the messages. No, I'm just kidding. But it has been.
It was me sending the fan mail.
I got one. I got one message. It was from Hope, being like, "Where are you?"
Like, wait, what happened here?
Yeah, hold on a second. No, so yes, I was at the Masters, my fifth Masters, and one of those things where, you know, there is obviously a big sense of sameness going there, same golf course, same time of the year, you know, same azaleas, same pimento cheese sandwich, and et cetera. But, you know, every year it doesn't get any less special. And then obviously, you know, this year with the Sunday, that Sunday and how it finished is certainly not something I'm going to forget.
I've never seen so many grown men cry than when Rory McIlroy won, which was amazing. I was also like tearing up, but I just loved seeing all the Instagram like videos of like everyone's like, my husband, I've never even seen him cry, and he's like bawling his eyes out. I thought it was so funny. But what do you guys think the like equivalent would be of an LPGA player winning this week? Like just as big of a storyline, like Lexi Thompson?
Yeah.
Is that like just as big of a storyline?
Yeah. Lexi, no doubt.
Yeah. I was kind of thinking the same thing. How awesome would that be, Emma?
It'd be amazing. But I also was just going to add on to the emotional side of things. I feel like both on the PGA Tour and the LPGA Tour, the last couple of weeks have just been really emotional. Obviously, you had Rory, and then you had Justin, and he got emotional. And then on our tour, you had Madeline, who got super emotional at match play, and then Ingrid last week. Like, it's just been like an emotional couple of weeks, which is really cool because I think it just shows like how hard everyone works, what it means to everyone, and that it truly is our job at the end of the day. It's not just like this fun thing, and people are working their whole lives towards a goal, and then when it happens, it's like, oh my gosh, it all paid off. So it's just been really cool to be a golf fan the last couple weeks. And yeah, I'm really excited for our major season on the LPGA to get going. And no better person to win than Lexi. That would be super fun.
That would be crazy.
But I will say later on we're going to do some picks, and I did not pick her, but now I'm kind of regretting that.
Just for the plot. You're like, maybe I should have picked her. Well, as you guys were saying, I mean, and as a lot of people say, how can you not be romantic about golf? It is a romantic sport, and it kind of showed that the last couple of weeks, just how emotional it's been. And hopefully we follow all of that emotion up this week with an amazing winner. No matter who wins, it's going to be great. I cannot wait to see it. Hopefully we get another jump into Poppy's Pond. But I want to just go over with all of you listeners and viewers, however you are watching this, thank you for tuning in. As you can tell, like I said, we are reunited, and we are reunited because we are doing a little preview episode. We are still going to have a separate episode with a player, and we are interviewing Madeline Sagstrom, so be sure to watch that episode as well. But I asked you guys what y'all want to see in this episode. I said, what do you want us to talk about? And we listened. We are going to talk about some of the things y'all mentioned. So that's from expert picks, player storylines, stats, all sorts of stuff. So I think we should get started because y'all want to hear these things. So I think we give the people what they want, guys. I think we give the people what they want. It is the third time we are here at this course, the club at Carlton Woods, the Jack Nicklaus course. It's going to be a little bit different, though. But obviously, since players are returning, they kind of know what to expect. Adam, you mentioned that already. The greens were fairly new last year, though, and now they've matured a bit, and I think that's going to level the playing field a bit more. So, Emma, you've played on this golf course. You're going to be commentating for ESPN Plus this week. What do you take away when you look at this golf course? Who plays well here? Maybe someone who's never been to this tournament. What do you take away from the golf course?
Yeah, obviously in all of our majors, length is a big deal, and this week is no different. The course is long, it's really firm, and it's narrow. There's water on lots of different holes out there. And because of the new greens and because how firm just a major gets, those shorter irons into par fours, for example, on number 10, I had a hybrid. Nelly Corda's going to have an 8-iron. Like, that's a big difference going into a green. I also think there's a couple of reachable par fives, number 4, number 8, and usually they make one on the backside, usually 16, I think. They usually make one of the back 9 par 5s reachable as well, but they're reachable only if you hit it far enough. You have to cover, you have to either cover a water or you have to cover bunkers that are like in the middle of the fairway. So, length is a big deal, but also you have to hit it straight. And I think we've seen that over the last couple of years. The long ball hitters have actually been really successful at this golf course. It's also Bermuda, so people that are used to that, I think, have a slight advantage because out of the rough, like, you know how Bermuda, it gets like a little sticky. So I think if you're used to playing Bermuda, we don't play a lot of Bermuda on the LPGA either. So I think that's a big thing. And then also, like you just said, I think the knowledge of the golf course is going to play a huge factor. This golf course, you kind of have to plot your way around it, stay very patient, avoid those big numbers when you do hit it in the trees because it has the pine needles in the trees. So I think knowledge of the golf course, kind of knowing what your plan is going into the week, is going to play a huge impact into who's going to win this week and play well, just because these rookies are going to walk in, they don't even know where the locker room is. They don't know anything about the place. So I think having some knowledge will be very significant. So that's my take on the golf course. Hit it far is better than hitting it short.
Emma, you kind of mentioned the new players walking in, whether it's a rookie or someone who maybe just haven't played in this tournament before. There are 25 players that have never played on this course. And I mean, like you said, that might hurt them a little bit because they've never played in this tournament. It's the first major of the year. The nerves are going to be there. So how do you even begin to prepare when you've never been to this golf course and it's a major and it's a long one and it's, you got to be a certain type of player to probably play well?
I kind of like the cheating system.
Okay.
Where you play with a veteran in the practice round and watch what they do.
Kind of like a cheating strategy.
I do. And, you don't think of
smart,
that because, like, sometimes rookies will play with rookies during the practice round. But that's probably the worst thing they can do this week. Like, go.
Because they're friends, right, Emma?
They're friends. Yeah, it's just who you normally play with. But if it were me giving advice to someone that I didn't do this with, like, I did the wrong thing as well, I would go play with a veteran. I would find out when Lauren Coughlin's going to go play the golf course and play the golf course with her. Because I think you learn a lot from someone, even the clubs they're pulling, the lines they're taking, where they're putting from and to, because we all know where the pins are probably going to be. So it's just like a little bit of cheating. It goes a long way.
Rookies, if you're listening to this, don't actually cheat. Just take Emma's advice.
Just find yourself a veteran and saddle up. Yeah.
And don't mention to her that you're cheating, okay?
Yeah. Or any rules officials or LPGA staffers. Or
Well, like I said, I think that just shows you I'm not a cheater, but that's my version of cheating.
No, that's so funny. But speaking of a rookie playing with a veteran.
Speaking of cheating, I was like, where's Hope going?
No, we're not talking about cheating. No more cheating. Just Emma's kind of cheating, which I will allow. Last week we have to talk about the Swedes. Okay, we have to talk about the Swedes because they have been on fire. The last 2 tournaments that we've had on the LPGA Tour, we've had 2 Swedish players win, one a veteran, which was Madeline Sackstrom, and Ingrid Lindblad, who is a rookie. They were they both went to LSU. They are both stars at LSU, and they both, well, I think Ingrid only won once last year on Epson Tour, and Madeline just absolutely popped off on Epson Tour. So it's super interesting to kind of see both of the journeys they've taken, and Madeline was there to congratulate Ingrid when she won. I mean, Ingrid played so well. Like, obviously she is a rookie, but she just seems to be so confident. Like, don't you think so, Adam? I know you covered the tournament in Vegas, the match play tournament, but like they just seem to be looking really, really good right now.
Yeah, I think the curious thing about Ingrid, I'll start with her, and curious is maybe a bad word to use to describe her, but she has never been afraid to have in doing the tournament coverage and then also kind of researching a little bit more. She's never been afraid of the big moment, I guess would maybe be the best way to describe it. Like, you look at this laundry list of accomplishments while she was at LSU, right? Like SEC Golfer of the Year, Freshman of the Year, award upon award upon award, reaching number 1 in the world in the amateur ranking. Obviously kind of getting in the mix at the ANWA, busting out of the gates. And I think it was, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think she only took 9 starts on the Epson Tour to finish 6th in that race to the card in order to earn her LPGA Tour card. So it obviously, she, like I said, busts out of the gates. It only takes her less than 10 tournaments to earn a card, and then now wins last week in her 3rd start as a pro on the LPGA Tour. Barely has even registered a weekend effort so far on the LPGA Tour. Gets food poisoning in China, has to withdraw there, misses a cut, and then I think she did find one weekend earlier on in the season. But it's basically been a whole lot of nothing in her rookie campaign, and then she kind of goes all gas, no brakes, and wins last week. So one thing I will say about Ingrid is not afraid of the big moments. If she can kind of get in the pocket of somebody to learn this golf course this week, wouldn't be surprised if she rides kind of momentum and confidence into another good result this week. And then Madeline, what more can you say just real quick on her? Because obviously the match play is a couple of weeks now in the rear view, but the marathon effort that it took her and obviously Lauren Coughlin as well, but Madeline to win that tournament, kind of stay. We're talking about major championships. We're talking about marathon mental fortitude. Obviously, the physical side of things of that match play, playing 130 holes or whatever it was, but mentally to stay so dialed in as well as she did kind of that week to win the tournament, having not won in a half decade or whatever it was, kudos to her. That's going to be something that you can lean on, this week at a major. And then Ingrid, not having any scar tissue, not really having any kind of like, oh yeah, a major, a big stage, what do I do? No, she doesn't have any of that. And I think, combining both of their kind of unique results or their unique efforts with the good results over the last 2 or 3 weeks or whatever it is. Yeah, really, really nice golf from the two of them, and would not be surprised to see either of them, despite the fact that Ingrid is a rookie, in the mix this week as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Just really quick before we move on from the Swedes, Ingrid hit nearly 85% of her greens in regulation for the week that she won and averaged a whopping 6.5 birdies or better per round on her way to victory. And I think you said it best, Adam. She has no scar tissue. She was so cute when she won. Like, you could see, like, she was so surprised. Like, she was genuinely surprised in herself. And she was like, I don't have to play in a U.S. Women's Open qualifier.
Yeah,
like, I
that's
didn't
the best part.
Yeah. How big is that?
Yeah.
Like, moving forward in major season, to know that now she's going to be playing in those majors, Emma.
I was just about to say, the reason why I was going with the big guys is I played with her. She played a lot of LPGA tournaments last year, and I played with her twice in 2 different tournaments, and she's very confident, but she just exerts a lot of confidence the way she walks on the golf course. And I think it's cool. Her and her caddy have been together since she turned pro, which I think helps as well, especially in moments like last week where you're in the lead, you kind of need someone to bounce off of. But
totally.
I think it's really important. I was going to say it's going to change her life, period. As a rookie, I think it's really hard to dive in because you don't know any of the golf courses. And now it doesn't matter if she knows the golf. If the rest of the year is terrible, it literally doesn't matter because she has 2 years. So it's going to change her life in a lot of ways. And I don't think she knows how much it's going to change her life at this moment, but it's going to make her life as an LPGA Tour player a lot easier the next couple of years, because it's hard to get into the majors. It's hard to get into CME. Like, it's very difficult to do all these things, and she doesn't have to worry about any of it anymore. So life-changing moment, and very excited to see her win. I think she's going to be a great player on the LPGA for years to come.
And the Tournament of Champions too, Emma, obviously. Like, you start your year, there's guaranteed money, guaranteed points. Like, let's no cut, let's rock it out, let's go, and kind of start the year in a great way for next year already too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Okay, guys, a lot of people, a lot of our followers and LPGA fans, they wanted to know expert picks. So who better to tell them than us three? So I'm going to quickly go over some players that I picked out, and then I'm going to toss it to you guys. Emma, I'm going to toss to you first on some names that maybe stick out to you. And these are not, later on, we're going to do 3 picks
Are we actually
people
doing
we
our
actually
picks?
think. No, we're not doing our picks. These
Okay.
are just players to keep an eye on because of
okay.
how they've been playing, or maybe how they've been playing at Chevron Championship. So if I was a betting woman, and I'm not because I can't be, these are the players that I would keep an eye on. So obviously Nelly Korda, she won last year. The winning score was 13 under. Obviously she's a long hitter. Her game fits this course. Maybe she hasn't been playing as well as she would want to this year, but she's still been doing great. You know, this is like Nelly standards. These are Nelly standards, not our standards. She's still been playing really well. So obviously Nelly coming back, defending, she can handle the pressure. We've seen it time and time again. Lauren Coughlin, another great one. I'm not going to go into detail on all of these because y'all have some details for me. Akiai Iwai, who almost won last week. She is someone that you got to keep an eye on her, no matter what, the rest of the year. Yili Mino, Jeeno Thitikul, Esther Hinselite, Lilia Vu, our champion 2 years ago, Miyu Yamashita, and Jin Hee-im. So Emma, I'm going to toss to you first. Tell me, out of those names, who really is sticking out to you?
Watching the Masters last week, it's funny. I was like, Lauren Coughlin's going to win next week, or the Chevron. And then last week, watching her on TV, my husband goes, Lauren Coughlin's going to win next week. And I was like, I think she's going to win next week.
Okay, well, see you guys. Yep, we're
good. I mean, she's just been playing really well. Obviously, last year, I think at the point of last year, like last week of last year, I think I read a stat that she was ranked 100th at that point of last year. So her year from then till now that's been life-changing.
Yeah.
She's won multiple times. She has been Solheim Cup. She changed her putting, and that's what she says is what caused this big change in her game. She finished third last week. Last year, she finished third as well. Her ball striking is unreal, which is what you need on this golf course, and she hits it long. And she grew up on Bermuda, and her family lives in the Woodlands. So, pop off Lauren Coughlin, mic drop. That is who I would pick. She is going to be my person later, too, so there's your little tidbit.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. I'm also going to talk a little bit about Esther Hinselite. I think she's kind of this person that people don't see or talk about as often as they probably should, but she's had a great year this year. She finished tied for third last week. She finished tied for 17th at match play. And just seeing that consistency in trending players, she also hits the ball very far. She's 32 on CME right now and 27th on Rolex rankings. And there's a reason she's in that middle of the pack, really top third of our tour, is because she's very consistent. Yeah. She always you always see her name. She's someone to watch for. And she also won a silver medal last year at the Olympics. So definitely watch out for her. And then someone that I just am really, really impressed with, and I keep picking her a lot, is Jin Hee-im. She's had 8 career top 10s, but this year alone, she's had a T11, T35, T12, T4, and a T20. So, she's not that shabby of a golfer. Wow, that's absolutely amazing. Her caddy is a new caddy the last couple of weeks who has won a major championship with a different player. So good caddy. And she's 15th in CME. So she knows how to get her way around a golf course. She burst into the scene last year and really did burst into it. So she's really, really good, and you'll see her on the leaderboard, I'm assuming, a lot in the next coming years. So those are the three kind of girls that I kind of, when I saw those names, that I was like, they're all playing really well right now, and I think they're all, their names are on here for a really good reason.
Totally. Adam, what's your take? Give me three.
I mean, I think like I almost want to just say numbers 1, 2, and 3 are Jeeno. Like, not to like, you know, toss something into just the shallow end and be done with it.
He's
but
all
like,
in.
But you kind of zoom out from the consistent success that we've seen from Jeeno Thitikul, and you're thinking like, holy smokes, like how are you managing to have this consistent, like it's not just like, oh my gosh, like okay, 8 of the last 10 weeks you finished in the top 25, like that's such consistent golf. No. Like she's finishing in the top 10 like seemingly every single week that she tees it up. And I think, Hope, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I think she's only missed finishing inside the top 10 once in 12 tournaments, 11.
That's
like
insane.
Going back into last year,
insane.
right? Like, and the
She's
one
my
tournament
pick. She's my pick for being number one at the end of the season.
At the end of the season. Okay, so the reason I say, like, you know, you're talking about body of work, right? You're thinking about the whole back end of 2024. You come into 2025, same sort of momentum, and then so the Blue Bay in China earlier this year, she finished tied for 12th. So oops, didn't quite finish in the top 10, missed it by a stroke. But you look at the entire tee to green, strokes gained total, she's first on tour this year. She was first in the same stat last year. Doesn't matter what country it is, what kind of grass it is, what kind of golf course. Does it demand somebody hit it long, hit it straight? Do you have to be a good putter? Do you need, you know, good access around the greens? Like, and then the confidence and the momentum. You win the $4 million at the end of last year. You know, it's just something that no matter if it's PGA Tour, LPGA Tour, whatever it is, here is somebody that is playing just like killer, like step on your neck, killer golf. Who cares what the golf course is? Who cares what it's demanding from the individual? And somebody in Jeeno just steps it up on the first tee Thursday, and by the time we get to Sunday night, you know, she's been firmly in the mix, whether it not be for the whole of the tournament, for at least part of it, and then she knocks off another absolutely tremendous result. So, you know, quickly, maybe one or two others, but I can't say enough good things about Jeeno. I can't say enough good things about how she's managed her game, her mental approach to things with all of this success week in, week out. You know, I think it might be one of the, Emma, I'm not disagreeing with you in any way, shape, or form. I think that how she's handled herself to this point, the consistent body of work, I think she's going to knock off. If she doesn't win this week, she's probably going to win 2 majors this year. And by the time we get to November, you know, I think she's going to be number 1 in the world as well. You know, I think I can't say enough about Lilia as well. I mean, Lilia, obviously, maybe some up and down things with the injury, obviously last year, comes into, you know, this year, maybe some questions around, you know, the health situation, but of course has already had a half decent result, and of course a winner already on this golf course. So again, we talked about experience a couple minutes ago. I think that's going to be something extremely important to look at as well. But yeah, you know, I kind of come back to consistency and momentum and confidence, and somebody like Jeeno, you know, it stands out so aggressively for me that it's almost hard to, you know, say anyone else
Pick someone else.
Exactly, basically, right? So, anyways, good for her. You know, maybe
I
she's on her way to missing the
thing.
cut this week, but as I dump all of this, like Jeeno, and then it's like, all right, well, see you next week. But alas,
that was great.
There's all my rationale for thinking that that's not going to happen.
I want to add something about Jeeno, if you don't mind.
Let's go.
I think if you asked me who loves golf the most on the tour,
Okay, yeah.
I love
I
that.
think Jeeno loves the game of golf, and I think that's the reason she's so successful. She always looks so happy, no matter what she's scoring.
Always.
No matter if it's on a Monday morning after traveling all night on Sunday. She enjoys the tour. She enjoys playing golf. She enjoys her caddy. She enjoys her friends out on the tour. And I think that is a huge reason why she's having so much success, because it's hard. I mean, we've talked about this before, but it's hard to travel week in and week out. It's hard to compete every week. It's hard to grind every week. And I think she loves it. And I think that's why she's so successful.
Hope,
Go ahead.
Hope, real quick. You were talking about Lexi, like what kind of like zoom out emotional shed of tears. I think, imagine if Lydia does it again this week. Like she just like
That would be
bangs
amazing.
herself into the first major of the year after like getting into the Hall of Fame last year, and then it's like, don't worry, guys, I'm still great. I'm not going anywhere.
By the way,
It's
I
good.
can still win majors.
Yeah, so we're talking. Yeah, exactly. I think again, this is kind of building off of Emma's point real quick about just someone who like kind of love like. Lydia is such like just a gentle and like kind person, and she just like, you know, is out there kind of doing it still, even though like, you know, what else do we have to prove? And yeah, I think like if she comes into this first major of the year after every kind of magical thing that happened last year and manages to go out and do it, yeah, it'd be pretty cool too.
Yeah. I don't think that'd be too bad. I love Lydia.
Nobody would be upset, right?
We all do. We've talked about that a million times. All right. We love Lydia around these parts. I just want to quickly, before we move on, talk about, I mentioned Akiai, EY. She is actually a twin. This is like one of my favorite storylines right now on the LPGA
It's
Tour.
so fun. Yeah.
It's amazing. Like this is so rare. Can you imagine being a twin, but also you and your twin are professional athletes and you compete on the biggest stage in your sport? It's both of their rookie years. Akiai has already finished in second twice this year. It was so cute. Her twin's name is Chisato, and she was watching her on the 18th green, and you could just see like the emotion in her when she missed that putt last week. It was gonna force a playoff, and she missed it, and you could see both of them just like have the exact same reaction. I think they're both players that you need to keep an eye on, but I think especially this year you need to keep an eye on the 22-year-old, by the way. From Japan, because she is just so good. Another player who just looks so confident.
Hope, are they going to play together in the team event, do you think, later this year?
Absolutely.
I hope so.
Because there's
if they don't, I will be upset.
Because there's this week on the PGA Tour is obviously the Zurich event, the team event, and there's two sets of twins that are playing in that event together. The Paul twins and the Hogarth twins. So, anyways, it just right off the top of my head, I was like, we gotta get them together. It's gonna be good.
That's crazy. I can't even imagine how proud their parents are. I always think about that. I'm like, I bet their parents are just like never like stop talking about them. But I don't know. That's how I would be. But yeah, so I just thought she was definitely someone to keep an eye on. So before we make our official picks, there is actually something I want to talk about, and that is that some top players are in a bit of a drought. But then again, is it a drought or is the competition just so freaking good out here that it's hard to win? And we've seen that every single year. We have, I think one year we had like 11 Rolex first time winners, 11 or 12. I can't remember the exact number.
They took up the whole of the stage. At the year-end
at the
awards.
Rolex Awards. Yeah. So it's like, is it a drought? Or is this the week maybe that they prove to their fans and to the LPGA, like, hey, I still got it. Like some of those players, Minjee Lee, Brooke Henderson, Jin Young Ko, still contend, most weeks, but it's like they haven't won in a while. So like, what do you guys make of that?
I think Charlie Hull comes to mind, and I would never consider it a drought. I think her time is coming. She's a great player. She always is a good player. She always makes the cut. Like, I don't think hers is a drought at all. Minjee Lee, I will say, I think she had a drought last year.
But I think she's coming back. She switched that putter.
Yeah, she's been playing great this year, and I keep seeing her name, and I'm like, oh, she's back. So I think Minjee Lee actually did have a drought last year, probably just because she's been on tour for a long time. I don't know,
it's bound to happen.
Yeah, exactly. So I think Minjee Lee is on the up. She is definitely trending back to what we're used to seeing. And those are the two players that come to my mind. Obviously, I'll let you talk about Brooke Henderson, Adam, but for me, those are the two that come to my mind, and I think they're definitely not in a drought. They are just people that
they're just hanging back.
They're just
hanging. Their moment comes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things where you kind of are like, these are names that have like registered for so long, and you're like, oh my gosh, like it's hard to believe. Like Jin Young Ko hasn't won in 2 years. She hasn't won a major in 5 years. Minji hasn't won in 2 years. Hasn't won a major in 3 years. Brooke is the same way. Basically, Brooke Henderson hasn't won in 2 years essentially, and hasn't won a major in 3. And this point, you think about Rory obviously goes 10 years without winning the Masters, and then Justin Thomas, we just talked about him briefly. He goes 3 years without winning, and they're just like names that are part of your kind of golfing psyche, and you're like, oh wow, like how did this happen? And yeah, I mean, certainly we just talked about Ingrid. We just spent a good 5-6 minutes talking about her. She's a rookie on the LPGA Tour, has only played 4 times so far in her rookie campaign, and she's already won, and she's won obviously now more recently than some of these players that in the 2020s have been just so firmly stamped as part of the big group in the LPGA Tour. So yeah, I mean, I think from a Brooke Henderson perspective, real quick, I mean, obviously she has a course record at here at the Chevron. She shot it last year on the Saturday. It all kind of comes down to the putting for her. She only took 24 putts on that Saturday to shoot 64. So I mean, she's got the game. She's, I think, recovering, if not recovered, period now from that eye surgery that she had at the end of last year. So the body work is there from the perspective of Brooke Henderson to maybe kind of get off to a good start and see what she can do. But yeah, this was kind of an interesting exercise to kind of look at these names that have been so good for so long, but then kind of think like, oh wow, they haven't won in like 3 years, and like and realize like how much better, not better, better's the wrong way to say it, but just how tough the competition has been on the LPGA Tour lately.
Absolutely. And one thing about Minji, she loves a big moment. So don't count her out.
She does love a big moment.
I honestly could see her winning this week. Like I could 100% see it just because of how she is. She loves a big moment. She can handle the pressure.
Chip on her shoulder, do you think, Hope? Like a little bit
maybe.
like
she's so calm too.
Yeah, I know.
On the golf course, she's very calm.
Yeah, I think she's someone, I know we've mentioned multiple people to keep an eye on, and it's not going to get any better when we move on to this next segment because we have a couple more names that we're going to add, but these are our actual expert picks. These are the people that we think have the best chance of winning. And so there's 3 picks. One is best chance to win, no matter what their record is, how many times they've won, how many majors they won, just your main pick. And then one player who has never won a major, and then one player who has never won on tour. So I'm actually going to kick us off with this.
Hope, go.
All right, here I go. So my main pick, who, sorry, Adam, I stole her from you because you said there may not be anyone else that you'd rather pick over her, but Jeeno Thitikul. I mean, how can you not pick her? She won the CME Group Tour Championship last year.
Big moment.
I kind of think that was like a monkey off her back of like, okay, I can win these big events. So I think if she doesn't win the Chevron Championship, she's going to win a major this year. No doubt about it. My player who has never won a major, that pick is going to be Angel Yin. We haven't talked about her yet.
Yeah.
But guys, she has such a good chance of winning this. She almost won 2 years ago. She went into a playoff with Lilia Vu, ended up, going into the water on that first playoff hole. Didn't end up getting the victory, but we love Angel. So
and she's been playing great golf.
Yep, already won once this year. So
it got the podcast bump, if I recall correctly from you guys. There you go.
That's right. She won like literally the next week.
I was gonna say about her approach game. 2 years ago, she was 153rd in strokes gained approach. This year, she's all the way up to 45th. So whatever it is that she's like found a weakness, she is trying to turn that into a strength. So Hope, I just wanted to quickly jump in and make mention about that because, she's dialed or getting dialed.
And you're a stats guy. So, and then I already kind of talked about Akiai, but she is my pick who has never won on tour. So yeah, those are my 3 picks. I think no matter what, even if none of them win, I think you can guarantee all of their names probably to be up there on the leaderboard. So
absolutely.
Okay, Emma, do you want to go next?
I'll go next. I kind of spoke on her a little bit at the beginning, but Lauren Coughlin, she's my top pick for who's going to win. I think she is going to win.
Great pick.
And the next player y'all might be a little shocked by, but she's been on tour for a long time. She's also someone that has been trending this year. I would say she's had 3 top 10s, and that's Gabby Lopez.
Yep.
Razorback. from Mexico, and she's a wonderful human. So I mean, I feel like we really haven't talked about her much on the pod, but I think she sneakily, if that's a word, could definitely come in and just win. My dark horse is Sarah Schmelzel. She's a good friend of mine. We had her on the pod a couple weeks ago, but she's never won a tournament. And I also think that she is just around the corner from winning. She has had a great couple years. She's one of those players that every year she's gotten better, which is really hard to do on our tour. And now she's considered one of the best. So I think Sarah Schmelzel is my dark horse.
Love it. Adam, finish us off here.
Well, somehow, some way, nobody mentioned Nelly Korda yet. I think every single podcast we recorded in 2024, somebody talked about her at some point. So I wouldn't it wouldn't be a debut by me if we didn't bring that up. So Hope, I think quickly, the way that you described her when we did briefly chat about her maybe 20 minutes ago was just like, Nelly standards, little bit higher than maybe everyone else, and perhaps a victim of her own success in that regard. But still 2 top 10s in the 5 tournaments she's played so far this year. Obviously, no miscuts either. 3rd in strokes gained total. So the body of work, no real big differences from last year into this year. Just a matter of kind of maybe putting 4 good rounds together. Now, obviously, it happened at a different golf course, but the last person to defend at the Chevron was Annika, 2001, 2002. So anytime you're mentioned in the same breath as her, which Nelly has so often been over the last 12 months or so, is a good thing. So I think if somebody's going to break that, almost quarter-century drought, I wouldn't be surprised if it was her. Emma, you talked about Lauren Coughlin so much. It's just one of those things where is it stars aligning? Is it great golf? Is it I'm not afraid of the moment because I'm mature? Whatever any of those X factors may be. And also, again, I use these 2 descriptors a lot on this pod, but it's golf and they're so important. Confidence and momentum. I mean, Lauren's finished in the top 3 in her last 2 tournaments. So kudos to her, and would not be surprised if she is very, very firmly in the mix here as well. And then, Esther Hanselat, we talked a little bit about her before. Hasn't quite managed to take one across the finish line, but a really, really solid result here last year. Obviously, the silver medal, so there's like a big moment representing your country. Kind of been in that conversation before, and then of course Ty in the top 5 last week as well. So comes into this golf course with a little bit of juice behind her. So those would be my 3.
Amazing. You heard it here first, folks. If one of them don't win, I don't know. I'm quitting. Like, I don't know what to do. Out of those 9 players, like, I don't even know what to do. Guys, I think that wraps us up. It's going to be a good week. I'm excited.
Always.
Great week.
It's going to be a great week, and thank you all for watching, for listening to this podcast. Be sure to tune in, because no matter what, both of the last 2 years have ended in dramatic fashion, and I have confidence that that is going to happen again this year. So you can watch on Golf Channel, you can watch ESPN Plus featured groups. Emma is going to be helping out with that, and so am I, just a little bit, filling in for her when she needs a little break with her pregnant belly. So be sure to tune in, because it's going to be a good week, and I'm excited to see how it all shapes out. So tune in, and y'all let us know in the comments below who you think is going to win this week.
Happy Major Week.